How much did sea level drop? Say it louder. Yeah, okay. For about 400 feet. So that's a pretty substantial drop in sea level. When we begin taking into account and thinking about the changes that would be brought about, they're quite dramatic. I'll take another, this is another artist's depiction of just what North America may have looked like during the Ice Age. There were two ice caps that grew. One of them sort of nucleated over the Hudson Bay region. The other one nucleated over the Canadian Rockies. This growth of the ice mass actually began around 26,000 years ago. And over the next 10 to 12,000 years, the two ice masses grew until they finally coalesced. And you can see that zone of coalescence right here. There's some interesting discussion about an ice-free corridor that may have allowed passage of animals and peoples for a period of time between those two ice caps. You'll notice up here the outline of Alaska and how during the Ice Age, this North America was connected to Siberia by one vast landmass. And this is one of the planet's lost ecosystems. That was one of the most densely populated places on the planet during the Ice Age, which is weird, right? Because Siberia, northern Siberia, is one of the coldest places on Earth that doesn't actually now sustain an ice cap. During the Ice Age, when North America had this huge mass of ice over it, Siberia had a megafauna that was only comparable to what you would find in the Serengeti Plain of Africa today. How do you explain that? That's difficult to explain, but as you get into this and you begin to understand the specifics of it, you begin to appreciate that the world has gone through some extraordinary changes. And not over millions of years, but just over thousands of years. It has gone through extraordinary changes in the time that we humans have been here. Okay, here is these are some of the most accurate digital relief maps of the planetary topography. And this shows the ocean basins. It shows the present-day coastlines of the planet. And we can zoom in a little here, look at the Atlantic Ocean. And what we'll do here is go now to sea levels during the Ice Age. Now, it's not showing the ice cap, but we could single out some areas. Look at, for example, put your eyes on Florida. You notice Florida is over double its present width. And look at up in this area, up along Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. They were not islands, were they? And look up here, look up at Beringia, where now Alaska is separated from Siberia. All of this is a giant drowned landmass that was above water during the Ice Age. And let's look at a little closer in at some of this so you can see the remarkable changes. Look at North America. If I rotated that a little, in fact, I've done this. I've taken this map here, rotated a little bit, and people don't even recognize it's North America anymore. Look at like the islands down here. Look at down in this area, and look at the Caribbean. See, right now, for example, Europe is kept warm by the Gulf Stream. Well, the Gulf Stream comes in and flows this way, and because of this pause that it has here, it gets really warmed up within the Caribbean basin, then it flows back out, carries all that heat up to Europe. During the Ice Age, the Gulf Stream completely bypassed this, and it actually turned south. It made its loop around much further south than it does now. So that alone would have had a major effect on European climate. Okay, here's Southeast Asia, right? Here's the peninsula of India, Australia. There's also a lost landmass down there that would have looked like this. This is several 100,000 square miles of land that have been drowned. During the Ice Age, you've got to bear in mind that during the cold climate of the Ice Age, prime habitable real estate would have been near the coastlines of the world. Knowing that, those coastlines are now 400 feet underwater. So prime areas of human habitation are drowned. That's why I've said for many years now, I think that really the future of archaeology is going to be marine-based archaeology. But notice You could almost walk to Australia from the Southeastern Asian mainland.
That would describe why the natives there look exactly like people from India in a lot of ways.
Right. Here's Northern Europe. Okay. Take a look at, here you see the British Isles, right? There's England, Scotland right there. Here's Ireland. Here's Scandinavia with Norway here, Sweden here. Okay, now watch, we'll go Ice Age. Where are the British Isles? There are no British Isles. It's all part of the, in fact, what is now the North Sea and all of this was a major area of animal habitation. Just like on the bottom of the Arctic Ocean, they find thousands and thousands of mammoth remains. They also find those on the bottom of this. See, this whole area became drowned. Yeah, oh yeah, right there. Well, you could almost jump across the Straits of Gibraltar. The Mediterranean was not separated from the Atlantic during the last ice age. Although it has been, previous ages, it has been separated. So you can see a pretty dramatic difference. I mean, look at the Baltic area up here. There's no Baltic Sea. Look at this up here. This gigantic landmass that no longer exists. So whether you believe in Atlantis or not, certainly there are sunken land masses all over the planet that probably would have been inhabited by large numbers of people. So when we talk about, you know, the ice age and the oscillation between glacier and interglacial age, what I'm trying to do is convey to you here that even with this cursory demonstration, you can see the world was quite a bit different during this previous epoch. And we're only going back 13,000 years ago. Now, humans, we humans, how long, the conservative number for the duration that we humans have been on Earth, how long? Now I'm talking scientifically, not metaphysically or not the, you know, channeled or anything like that, but scientifically, like where we have actual skeletal remains of modern humans. Very good, 180,000 years. Some of you may remember a few months ago the finding, I need to dig this up because I've forgotten where it was. Do you remember, Brad, the finding of the modern footprints?
It was Kenya, someone said. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was on an exposed slab of rock, and from the footprints, they concluded that the foot was made by a modern human, or at least the footprint was a totally modern foot. Now, you know, if you understand anatomy, it's not likely that you would have a totally modern foot without having the rest of the entity also being modern. But that footprint dated to a mud flat that was formed 1.5 million years ago. So I don't take that as proof of modern humans like I would an actual skeleton or skeletal remains, but clearly, think about how long modern humans have been around. If modern humans were here 180,000 years, I mean, how much earlier than that would they have been here? Now, think about how long is our history. We have a recorded history that basically peters out to not much of anything once you hit 4,000 to 5,000 years ago. Of course, then recorded history gets supplanted or replaced by mythic history. And that's where I think we, you know, will begin to recognize that these great mythologies that have been handed down the ages are actually scientific accounts of historical events and the things that transpired to early humans in the prehistoric. Also, if you think about it, 4,000, 5,000 years from the whole duration of time that humans have been on the planet, we're talking conservatively less than 1/20th of the time. So I believe that the bulk of the real story of human presence on Earth has been lost. Once we begin to appreciate how vastly the world has changed, we're looking here, this is just one change. We're seeing here the change that I'm describing occurred during that age of Leo, from 13,000 roughly to 11,000 years ago. Now, if we go back 100 or 200,000 years and these kinds of changes have repeatedly occurred, what would we expect to find from a culture that lived 50,000 years ago or 100,000 years ago?